It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Get back to the chopper. Get back to the chopper. Now, we know in winter, I think we can testify to the fact that it is near impossible to get out of bed in those cold winter months. Those cold mornings making it very difficult to get out of a very cozy, warm blanket, even if it's to get a vital coffee. Well, if you're looking for a project to tackle this winter, how about a DIY serving tray? Definitely useful to have around the home, but it makes breakfasts in bed that much more enjoyable. Take a look.
Everybody needs a good breakfast tray to spare your pillows and blankets from crumbs or coffee stains. It's easy to make with some materials and tools you can find at your local builders.
We've got our timber, we've got some wood filler, we've got these little saddles, we've got some tape, a scraper, we've got some wood glue, or some rustic rope, we've got some spray paint, cordless drill, a sander, these large air spreader clamps. But what's going to happen is we're actually going to have our table area, our tray side of it, actually suspended slightly higher up on the inside of our sides. So let's mark it all out. You can measure out exactly where you want your places with a tape measure, but 9 times out of 10 you get distracted and you make a silly mistake. So find easy ways which are foolproof so that you can actually do it right the first time. So what I'm doing is I'm actually using the thickness of my timber plus a half thickness. Now I can see exactly where my base plate is going to sit, so I'm just going to mark up in the center of that to make sure I get the holes in the right place.
Mark all the positions for holes and screws on all your timber so you save time in the assembly. Next, drill the pilot holes where you will eventually join the pieces together.
And then that's basically going to countersink the head of that screw below the surface of the timber, then we're going to cover it up with some wood filler.
All the screws will be concealed by the wood filler so that there's a smooth surface that won't hurt your hands or your delicate linen. Now it's time to line up the base and sides for assembly.
We're going to clamp it all together, but before we do that, we're going to make use of some wood glue, and that's going to go in between our mating surfaces. It just creates less work for us later on.
The spreader clamps will hold the timber securely while the glue dries. While it's still in the clamps, drill in the screws.
Just so you get some misalignment here from the timber, so what we're going to do is we're going to fill the holes and then fill these edges slightly with some wood filler, allow that to dry, and then we're going to sand it down. I don't want to see any of those joins, so here comes the hard elbow grease with sandpaper. You're going to sand down for ages. Or you can cheat a little bit and go down to your local builder's outlet and get some decent power tools. I've got a belt sander and I've got an orbital sander. The belt sander, that's ideal for removing lots of material. Then we're going to finish off with the orbital sander, and that's going to give us a nice smooth finish before we spray paint.
Because the wood is porous, prepare the surface with primer to protect the wood and ensure a better bond with the color paint. Next, apply the color of your choice and allow it to dry completely between coats.
So I've made the blue one for him, and I think we've made one for her as well. I'm going to use these saddles, and that's going to basically make a little handle, and we're going to screw that onto the edge. Don't you just love this tray? What better way to serve up snacks in bed?
After all that work, you can enjoy your treats in bed. For all the DIY instructions, visit the Expresso website.